Hello, 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 good afternoon, and welcome to Behind the Design. My name is Morgie, and before we jump in and tell you a little bit about what's happening today, I want to warm up the conversation that's happening over here. So I'm going to pose you guys a question before we jump in. Who or what is your favorite brand? Throw your comments in the section just over there, and then we'll comment on those shortly. But yeah, nice to see you all. My name is Morgie. I am the creative director and studio director at Wasa. And what that means is, as creative director, I do the pieces behind the scenes and work out the rationale behind the design, and then myself and my team go on to produce it. Today, we are talking about how a solid, standout, well put together brand can help warm up leads for you. And let's have a look. I love Who Gives a Crap. That's the toilet paper company. We got Lululemon. That's Virginia. That is a top sporting brand, very popular with CrossFit people. Oh, we've got a sporty crowd today. We've got Under Armour as well. I mean, I was going to say Apple, but I feel like maybe I should be picking a sports brand. I mean, the Nike message has always been a strong one, right? Just do it. There's something very beautiful about that. I have a standout brand, but not one. Who Gives a Crap are indeed very good. Yes, yes. It's a lot of toilet humor today. So we're going to jump in. Let's bring up the presentation and go behind the design. So my background is product design, and I always want to make sure I'm asking the right questions. So when clients come to me, they have a challenge and they have an outcome that they want to achieve. And in order for us to get there, I like to build the logic and rationale behind the design. The way we do this, and I think any good design, whether it's branding or a campaign, really needs to be looking at and finding through research, through running workshops, speaking with the target audience, the insights that we can base an idea and a design around. Once we have a number of insights, we need to pull them together into a strategy and work out how we're going to use these insights and turn them into something logical and rational that we can use to build our creative concepts. This is the piece that we're going to look at today. So normally you wouldn't get to see the creative concepts because they're behind closed doors. And today we're going to present to you the three Freeformers concepts that we did for their branding. We call this piece the creative direction. The creative director typically does that. And that is what we're going to capture in the essence of this series behind the design, the bits that you don't get to see normally. What you will get to see regularly are the deliverables, that piece of content, the individual assets, and then get to experience that, whether that's an event or just out in the world through marketing and advertising. The main thing and the reason I love this technique and this process that I've developed is that at each stage, we can always roll back to the previous one. So if we don't like the concepts, we can roll back and reassess our strategy. If we like the concepts, but not the content, then we like the ideas behind it, but we need to rework our assets. It's a really nice way of building a funnel of success to get us to a final outcome and solution. So we're going to be talking about the Freeformers brand today. We were working with Toby and Emily to develop this, and Freeformers builds engaging employee experiences. So if you remember that bottom level, we want to do insights. We discovered that the brand and the company want to be perceived and feel flexible, that they produce a bespoke solution out of a number of different parts that they assemble together. They're also very playful. They're working with these corporates, but they want to have these playful training programs. An example of this is the stand-up comedy that they do in order to develop leadership skills and presentations. Taking those insights about bespoke and flexible solutions and beautiful, playful training programs, we wanted to communicate this flexibility, and we needed to stand out from our corporate people. We want them to be excited about working with us and to do something a little bit different. And you'll see how that gets reflected in the brands in a second. This is the mood board that Toby sent through to me. We can see that he is keen for something to be iconographic, some sort of symbol that we can use to represent the brand. We have this beautiful, strong typography coming through that he's keen to use. And then on the right-hand side, everything is this beautiful graphical composition. And we had to have a discussion because each one of these is a handcrafted piece of artwork. And with the restraints and the size of the startup at the moment, we have to be mindful about the way that we use this cutout and style. I'm going to talk you through the three concepts. At the end of presenting the three concepts, I'm going to ask you in the chat whether the Freeformers team should have picked concept 1, concept 2, or concept 3. This is where you get to be the judges, as if you were in that exact pitch meeting. So our first concept we were calling Sketchma. Always name your concepts, so that way when they read it out at an award ceremony, you have a fantastic name. That's why we always name our concepts. We've got Sketchma. There's this idea of digital facilitation. We were looking at tools like Figma and these digital online collaboration spaces that we could pull together. Playful motion and playful elements. We were using the visual language of programs like Figma. Secondly, we wanted this idea of it really being playful. So we drew on primary colors and basic shapes that come together to build more complexity. Ultimately, we created this icon where we have these 3 little shapes that come together to make that glyph or that icon that they wanted. And lastly, in the third concept, we were calling College House. It's this idea of taking pop culture, cutting it out, mixing imagery together to subvert expectations and bring delight and depth and layering. So looking at those 3 brands, and if you don't know the final brand that was chosen, would you have picked number 1? Would you have picked number 2, Free Blocks, or number 3, College House? Hit us through in the comments below, and then we will do a reveal of exactly which one was chosen. I don't need a strong rationale. I'm happy for you to put number 1, number 2, or indeed number 3. We've got, there's somebody biased here. We've got Toby Kang, already a fan of Free Blocks. That's a little bit of foreshadowing. Susie's got Wayne Scales. Matt's loving this. Susie's saying it's difficult. Matt's gone for a number 2. Virginia's gone for a number 2. We'll give it 1 second. Are we ready for the grand reveal? Ooh. Ultimately, yes, the team did pick number 2, Free Blocks. That idea of these playful shapes coming together, the complexity arising out from simple geometric shapes and simple colors, and also really loving that logo for its humanist font. You'll notice it's not perfectly rectangular. It's got these little serifs, very popular emerging trend at the moment. And we even have Toby joining us on the stream, tell us his experiences of using the Freeformers brand. Good afternoon, Toby.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I am well and slightly red-faced.
Well, I gotta say, you articulated that process way better than I would have done. But also, I was quite nervous because I was like, I know which one we picked, and I was looking in the comments nervously, going, "If I hope everybody says 2, or at least has 2 in there, so 2 and 3." But I think when we were looking at it, we were between 2 and 3 for sure.
It was a difficult choice, but I think we made the right choice. And the way you've been using it recently on social media has been amazing. I think you've had it for about 9 months now. So what have been the reactions to the brand and how's it working for you?
I think the cool thing about option number 2 is it's just quite clever in that you have those 3 shapes that are consistently used throughout the brand, and then they manifest themselves in different ways, especially when you see the I'm trying to use my design language here, the glyph.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 shapes that form the F, you kind of go, oh, that's kind of cool. But then when you see the word mark, yeah, the shapes are in there as well. So the way the playful nature of how it manifests itself, and then if anyone's seen our stuff on social media, that we use those 3 shapes really playfully, and I think that testament to how you deciphered everything we said and brought it to life. We just wouldn't have been able to do that ourselves. It would have been almost impossible. But it really just starts a conversation about what we do even before we talk about it, right? Because people are curious about the brand and where it's come from. So yeah, I can't thank you enough.
Thank you very, very much. Lovely to hear. Yes, we can look at what you guys are doing with your brand and where you need to be. And there are just certain things that we picked up over the years that we can shortcut. So we know that stock photography is something that you're going to be using. So how do we personalize it and bring it to life? And one of the ways we do that is utilizing those shapes, layering them over the top and making it look a bit more freeformers than just stock.
Well, that was one of the key things, right? There was some of the stuff we really liked in the design that technically would have just been quite difficult for us to implement in a scalable way. So the thing that I loved that you did was you helped us navigate how do we get from what the brand is and what it could be to something that is manageable as well. And that's the beauty of it. It's a manageable brand. You haven't set these expectations that we need to be consistently using you as our design support, which we do frequently use you as our design support, but you've enabled us to do that ourselves as well, which I think is just such a strong foundation to build our kind of working relationship on, because like you're not just the gatekeeper of our brand, you've enabled us to live the brand as well, which is really cool.
Thank you, Toby. I mean, we're aiming for a partnership, right? Your success is our success, and as you guys grow, we collaborate and work together and bring in the rest of the studio to produce assets for you guys. Thank you very much, Toby.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for tuning in this week. Today is just a short sample test, but next week we'll be looking at AI and the death of the photographer. How can we utilize AI to generate hero imagery, and is it better or worse than photography? It's going to be part of a series that we're doing, looking at the death of photography, the death of the designer, and multiple other use cases, the death of the illustrator for storyboarding. And in those sessions, we'll be live producing some assets, so you get a sense of how these tools work and discussing the pros and the limitations. So thank you very much for joining us today. Stay safe and make the world a more beautiful place.